Welcome back. David Hertel in for Elias. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is calling on the federal government to immediately stop paying striking employees and commit to clawing back every single dime. This comes following reports that the federal public servants will potentially continue to receive their regular salaries until at least May 10th. This is 3 weeks after the strike originally began. But the Taxpayers Federation wants to put a stop to this, deeming it unfair on those who are still working for their hard-earned money. Now, the government seems to have slightly altered their position on the matter, but still leaves us in the dark as to what's going on. Joining us now is the Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, Franco Terrazzano. Franco, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and great pronunciation of my last name.
Oh my goodness. I try. Terrazzano. Yes, very
perfect.
Great. Thank you. So Franco, how does this work? I thought that when workers go on strike, they stop receiving their regular salaries, and that's when the strike funds from the unions kick in. Isn't that the usual in situations like these?
Yeah, I bet you and 38 million other Canadians also thought that as well.
Okay.
I mean, just in the federal government, can it only be the place where that might not be the case? So, I mean, first broken by the Globe and Mail. Let's give them a shout out for really uncovering this story that federal government employees are still being paid by the taxpayer. Taxpayers are still paying federal employees their regular salaries and might continue to do so until at least May the 10th, which, as you pointed out, is 3 weeks after the salary first started on April the 19th. Now, there's so many different things that are crazy about this. Number one is that this strike didn't just happen out of the blue.
No.
Right? You had these union negotiators who've been threatening strikes for months.
Yeah.
I mean, I first remember hearing about this all the way back last September.
Oh, sure.
So how was the government caught off guard by this, right?
Yeah, plus there was a strike mandate given to the union. You know, the union workers voted to give a mandate for the workers to go on strike. So this cannot have been a surprise.
Exactly. And so how has the government not figured it out that it should not be paying its employees a regular salary for the days worked on April the 19th onward? But there's even more uncertainty here, because from the reports of the Globe and Mail and from the comments that I've seen from the government, it's not clear if all of the employees who are striking will have their pay deducted in the future. And it's also not clear how long that's going to take to get the money back. Now, all of this is absurd. Of course, taxpayers shouldn't be paying people when they're not working. But perhaps the most absurd part of this is the current protocol that's based off of past strikes. And in past strikes, you had federal employees who had to submit themselves unpaid leave requests so that their future pay could be deducted. Right? Only in Ottawa do you have people getting paid who are on strike and then having to file a piece of form themselves so the government will claw back the money.
Okay, but let's clarify this a bit in the sense that, so let's say I go on I go on strike on May 1st. I get that I shouldn't get paid beyond May 1st, but I could get money for the work I did up until May 1st.
Yeah, and
right?
I think that's fair.
That's fair. Okay.
Right? Like, I think that's fair.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you should get paid for what you worked for. I mean,
but beyond that.
Exactly. But beyond that, right? And from the federal government, even their clarification, by the way, made it clear that the earliest that the government will either stop paying them the regular salaries or start clawing them back, the earliest will be May the 10th, 3 weeks after the strike started. Okay, so I understand them receiving their last paycheck. That was for work done before April 19th.
Yeah.
But no way should taxpayers be paying for any of the time that they spent on the picket line.
And what is the federal government saying to all this? What's their response? Have you had exchanges with the government?
Well, they've been clear as mud. They put out a statement yesterday, but even that statement doesn't really shine any light. All it says is that they will continue to receive their regular salaries until May the 10th. And then it doesn't really explain, what the clawback is going to be like. How long is the clawback going to be? It should be as fast as possible, but it doesn't say that. Is it going to take a couple months to claw back the pay? Is it going to take a year to claw back the pay? Is it going to take 2 years to claw back the pay? We don't know, and it's something we should know. And can I just point out, too, that federal employees also deserve certainty on this, right? I mean, they should know how they're going to have to budget their own pay, but they don't because the government has been clear as mud. Another thing, too, and this is something that we're looking out for, is that the union negotiators better not be trying to bargain with the federal government to cover this strike. Then that's something we're also concerned about. They better not be doing that.
Because that was going to be my question. I mean, sometimes this all comes out in the wash in the fine print of the new bargaining agreement, where finally the government just glosses over this, or, in the whole retroaction of the new collective bargaining agreement, this is, like water under the bridge and it won't be clawed back. So don't you think that's what's going to happen?
I am very concerned about that. And that is just wrong. There is no way that taxpayers should be paid. Look, you have a right to go on strike. I get it. You have a right to protest. I get it. But taxpayers absolutely should not be footing the bill when you are striking, when you are not working. And I'm glad you brought up the fine print, because we already know that it's not just about wages, right? We went through the union's list of demands, and it's not just about wages. They want a bunch of benefits as well, right? They want more money to work past 4 p.m., not just overtime. I mean, if you work past 4 p.m., they want a shift premium. They're looking for more tax dollars to put into what they call a social justice fund. So they use these tax dollars essentially to advocate on public policy. They want up to $17,000 in an education fund for laid off employees. They're pushing for 2 weeks of paid time off, 4 weeks of vacation time after working 4 years. And they're also looking for overtime paid at double time. So I'm glad you brought up the fine print, because when it comes to these types of negotiations, it's all about the fine print. They're pushing for wages, yes, but they're also pushing for non-wage benefits that can also be very costly for the taxpayer.
Well, Franco, a lot to follow up on during the strike and the eventual agreement, because we hope there will be an agreement, but definitely an interesting angle that you're shedding light on. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me on, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Franco Terrazzano, the federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.